Hey, Bob. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Executive Benefits Simplified. My name is David Cox, and we are part of Benefit RFP. And today we're going to talk about a topic we've frankly covered before, but we got a lot of good feedback and thought we would revisit it. And I've affectionately dubbed it the culture of fairness. And what I mean, I just heard this again today, Bob, actually. And what this is some companies look at the executive benefits conversation and it is a non-starter. Their feeling is that if they do something targeted for this highly compensated group of people, executives, presidents, all these folks, that it's somehow not fair to the lower paid employees. And I think we said it before, I'll say it again, comes from a good place. We know that folks are doing the best that they can. They want to set up a culture that aligns with their mission and what they're trying to accomplish. But I think it's important that we address this because it keeps coming up. And so that's what I want to talk with you about today, Bob. And I know we're going to keep it to about 5 minutes today, but what are your thoughts? I know you've heard this before. I know I know you, Bob, you've got some opinions on this one. So let's get into it.
Well, thank you, David, for having me. Also, this is a very fun conversation with me. You know, when you hear on the news all the time, rich people don't pay taxes, you're really hearing about people that are making hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars. They're not paying taxes because they have large business deductions that they bring their compensation in the middle of. And so those deductions wipe out the income that you'd normally see people paying taxes on. But when you're talking about fairness, most senior executives actually are treated very unfairly compared to the average income earner. And the reason being is things like qualified plans have limitations. These limitations actually reduce the ability for senior executives to save at the same level as their lower paid counterparts that are getting started. So if I'm a senior executive and I've earned my right to get through the ranks and I'm doing well and leading the company, I should be able to defer 20, 30% of my income, just like the average salary or wage earner can. But I can't, because if I'm making $500,000 and I want to defer 20% of that, I can't use a qualified plan. So now I'm stuck. Now I'm restricted from doing any type of savings. And if a company doesn't recognize that, I'm going to end up leaving the company for somebody that does realize this and actually pays attention to it. Because if I stay where I'm at, I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to have less money at retirement that I'm going to need for retirement. And as a senior executive, I need to be able to save 20, 30%, just like I would be doing for a lower paid person. So I have to go find that new home that gives me that ability. When I leave, the other executives are going to ask me, gosh, where did you go? Because now we're fair. We're a parity. You found a company that has a plan that enables us to be treated fairly, just like the folks that are lesser paid in our business model, business avenue, whatever it is. And so I might end up bringing over some other executives that are interested in finding that same world. So, and even if they're not talking about it to you, to HR, to senior management, you can bet they're talking amongst themselves about this. And so that's where it messes up companies' culture when we don't take care of these people by having a properly suited plan. Why don't companies simply do this? Why don't companies build parity into a plan? We have people that are paid on large companies that represent our company from multiple states. California is one of the worst tax states in the union. And we have states that are tax-free from a state tax position. But we can utilize plans to offer parity on those people too, so that while they're working, they can all have the 0% tax rate on dollars that are deferred. And then they can make the decision on pulling it out in whatever state they want. They can move into a different state tax when they retire, so they can pull these dollars out tax-free, or they can stay in places like California and pay the full taxes on the dollars that come out. But that's up to them. That's not up to the company. So what you're doing is offering parity for everybody in the plan, because again, the government does not make plans fair for everybody. You have to incorporate these plans and rules that match whatever it is the target audience is that you're trying to serve. I understand fairness. We recognize in the higher income areas that there are penalty taxes for being paid more. You pay more on Obamacare care. You pay more on Medicare. You pay more on all the different investment programs that are available because of the penalty taxes and the step up tax costs that most states have and the federal government has for you. And so the only way to get parity and true fairness in a plan is sit down and go through and analyze your census to find out and figure out who's being affected the worst by taxes, by money siphons that erode the human life value while they're working with the company, and put these dollars back into your senior executives' pockets to mirror what's going on with the lesser paid folks in the company so that people stick around, so that people are excited. When you do a plan properly, these changes, these benefits that you're adding to your senior executives or your top paid people, of which you're paying them the most because they're the most important people for your company. I'm not saying they're more valuable. A human life is a human life. But when it comes to, if I have somebody that understands the technology that is fueling my company's growth and profitability, that person is absolutely definable, more important than a person that just started with the company 6 months ago. And so, and same thing with my senior executives running the company. So if I want these people to stick around, if I want to build a successful culture, then I need these plans. And when you do a plan properly, and I'll say this twice, when you do a plan properly, it will 100% create a profit for the company. If you have a plan today that does not create a profit for the company, both from a cash flow standpoint as well from a long-term and short-term profitability statement, then there is something wrong with your plan, and you need to bring it to somebody like us where we can do a free audit for you and show you exactly how to fix the plan and get you going in the right direction. Most people do not believe that plans can be changed. But if a plan is not profitable today, then there is something wrong with it. If a plan does not bring parity to your company, then there's something wrong with the design. If a plan doesn't motivate not only the senior executives, but the lesser paid people that will sometime in the future become senior executives to be motivated about the plan and all the features, and you don't have at least 95% participation, then 100% there is something tragically wrong with your plan, and it can be remedied. And it just takes time. It just takes a couple conversations to get these things fixed up and get you going in the right direction. So yeah, I'm passionate on this, David. I've been doing this for about 35 years. I've seen every kind of plan that's out there. I've seen the good ones, the bad ones. And, there is absolutely no reason why a company does not keep their best people always locked and loaded in a plan that serves their financial needs at the highest level possible while presenting and creating a profit for the company that is sponsoring that plan. These are fun conversations. They should never have bad results.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the thing to me that blows me away, and I haven't been doing this 35 years, but in the time I've been doing it, the time I've been working with you, Bob, one, these plans don't have to cost a lot for the company. So it's not like they're investing a tremendous amount more, depending on how it's structured. A plan could just be at a base level. It can just be a contributory plan. So you've got high earners, give them the ability to save without IRS limits to supplement what they're doing in the 401k. And the company can get away with doing that because it's money they were going to pay anyway. The cost of admin, cost of putting it on a platform can be nominal, a few $1,000s a year. So the cost isn't the problem. And when we think about these cultures at these companies, they're already innately unfair if you really look at it both ways, because the lowest person on the totem pole isn't getting restricted stock grants, right? They're not getting paid, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars a year. So there's already some inequity in there. So really, to me, the conversation is you've got folks that you don't want to lose. They have an outsized impact on your culture, on your bottom line, and all these things. And if they didn't, they wouldn't be at toward the top of your org chart. And so you've got these folks you're investing significant assets and benefits into. So give them the flexibility to manage what you're giving them, right? Don't make them take a taxable distribution when their restricted stock grants vest, because they don't have to. They can defer that into a deferred comp plan. Let them do it if they choose to. It doesn't have to cost the company a whole heck of a lot of money to make that benefit available and give them that flexibility. So thanks, Bob. I appreciate your time. I know we're trying to keep these a little shorter, so let's go ahead and wrap it up here. We'll probably pick this conversation up again in the future.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.